This is my first recorded fight, and it's the state finals. This kid was pretty tough. I fight a good fight, though. Junior middleweight division, state finals for the sports festival. This kid come right out. He's a strong softball. He catches me with a couple good shots a little bit ago. Yeah, right there, I catch him good. He didn't like that much. I think after that he was looking to get out of there. And that was my third state championship right there. That's my old man, one of my biggest fans.
Making a compilation on all my fights, and I'm going to talk about how I got started in boxing. I can pinpoint the very moment my life changed forever. It was first hour gym class in 8th grade. I was being a jerk off. I was throwing tacky-tack beads over the locker room stalls where you get dressed. And Bruce Marnkevich took exception to it and said, "Give me some shit." So we started talking smack, and we ended up out in the hallway away from the gym teacher. And we were fighting, man. Bruce was a black belt in karate, big kid, tough. And I was a wrestler. I wrestled all through elementary school. I was a gold medalist wrestler. And I was defensive football player of the year. And, I was the tough guy in my class. And Bruce was, like I said, he was a black belt. But he wasn't considered to be a tough guy. He didn't have that edge to him, But he got pissed off that day. And so we ended up out in the hallway. We squared up, and so I was punching with him. I could have pounded, grounded him. Up until that point, I'd been in a lot of fights where I'd wrestle a guy down, pin him down, pound. And I was like, well, I'm going to trade with this guy. So so we go out in the hallway, we square up, start going at it. I start throwing punches. I quickly learned I did not know how to fight at all. I sounded like a fish out of water. And I believe Bruce just stepped back, threw right hand right down the pike, busted my eye, gave me a huge black eye. I had a black eye for at least a couple weeks on that. And then, so after that, I learned I could not fight, and had to do something about that. So I was extremely embarrassed, had a huge black eye. That night, I went home. I got kicked out of school. That night, I went home. And I went out, we had a barn, and I got my dad's Navy duffel bag, filled it up with clothes, hung them from the rafters in the barn, and I started punching, started hitting that bag. And I was really, really embarrassed and pissed off, and I was going to, learn how to fight. So that's all I did. I mean, Forrest Gump run, and I hit that bag. I was like Forrest Gump. That's all I did was live to hit that bag. And so I'd, watch boxing on TV, guys shadow boxing. I'd shadow box a little bit. But I mostly hit the bag because that's, the only thing I knew how to do was tangible. And So about a few months later, me and a crew of guys are downtown Flushing on Main Street, and some high school kids are down there too. They start jawing at us. And so, I had a big mouth. I told them to go fuck themselves. And next thing you know, I'm squaring up with the toughest guy in their group, which would be Tony Boudreau. He's like a sophomore in high school, and I was in 8th grade. And Tony was, at that time, had a reputation in the high school already for being a tough guy. And me and Tony square up, and right down on the sidewalk, right on Main Street. And before he knew it, I threw a bunch of shots right down the middle. I threw a combination right up the middle and clipped him with pretty much every shot and staggered him back a little bit. And he got scared. He could see the fear in his face, and he didn't. After that, he kind of like just backed away and didn't want nothing to do with me. I started running my mouth. He took off. And from that point on, everybody knew my name. I was like, I'm a junior high, and everybody in high school was talking about me. I whooped Tony. And then I knew that's what I was going to do, is be a fighter. And then a little bit after that, a few months after that, I went down to Joe Bird's gym, Flint Pal, and that's where I started boxing. And so we go in there. I was a big kid, I wasn't real tight, but I was about 170. And we go to Joe's, and we meet him, blah, blah, blah. He went on to be Olympic head coach, he was a big-time trainer at that time. And his son, so we talk, and we go over the whole spiel on what we're going to do and, what to bring. So he said, come back tomorrow with the mouthpiece, and I'll let you box with my son, Chris. And he points him out, and Chris is a real skinny kid. And so we laughed about it, man. My old man, we were out in the parking lot going to the car, my dad was laughing, saying, hey, whatever you do, don't hurt him, So at that time, I had boxed a lot with all my buddies were meathead jocks, and I was beating everybody up. I was whooping, I'd been hitting them heavy bags for about 6 months or so, and I was getting really good at it. So we really had our chest out, thought we were going to do something, and I knew how to box. So we come in the next day, and I'd never been in the ring before, so they put me up there with Chris. Chris is like maybe 130 pounds. Skinny as hell, and I was like 170, pretty big kid. And we started going at it, and he beat the hell out of me. I was like it was like a heavy bag on legs. I mean, he just pummeled the hell out of me. And this went on for a couple rounds. It was so bad, he couldn't hurt me. Thank God Chris wasn't a big puncher, and he just pummeled the hell out of me. Joe Bird got up in the ring and gave me a big hug after 2 rounds, because I took a beating so bad, and I just kept coming at him like a train, just trying to hit him. And hell, I couldn't even hit his shadow. Couldn't hit him with a handful of BBs. And so from that day on, I just knew I was going to get as good as him and be able to mix it up with him. And that's what I did. I went to the gym every day. Every day they had it, I was there, and I was learning how to fight. Okay, so now I'm starting to fight. I'm going to the gym on a regular basis, boxing, developing my skills. And I had my first fight down in Detroit. I fought this kid out of Detroit, Pal. It's a really good gym, a lot of champions, Obakar, a lot of good fighters come out of there. And I knocked him out in the first round. And then a couple weeks later, I get into my first tournament, Junior Olympics, getting into that, and we show up. And there's nobody, because I only had one fight. They're going to put me in the B class, junior B class. And there was nobody in there. So then they had this kid in the A class, which is the highest level you can get in the juniors. And he was a black belt, taekwondo black belt. I don't know, he's a big-time karate fighter. And so my coach said, okay, we'll fight him. They're harping on him having a karate career, and I had one fight, and they really didn't know if they should let me fight. But Joe Bird said, hey, this kid can handle himself, so they put me in the A class. I knocked the kid out in the first round. I took him apart, beat on him. Kid out of Wyoming, Michigan. And so now I'm a state champ. I got 2 fights under my belt, 2 first-round knockouts, and I'm a state champ. So now I'm going to the U.S. Regionals. And it'll be a 5-state box-off, and there's only one guy there, and there's a reason why. He's a 5-time national champ, and nobody wanted to fight the guy. And I didn't even know it. So I'm 2-0, and this kid had 77 wins and 5 losses, which is unheard of. I mean, it's ungodly. And so we fight, and totally ignorance is bliss. I had no clue who the guy was, how good he was. And so I go out there and just fight and pressure the guy. Guy beats on me. I mean, he literally, my mom was there. My grandfather and my mom took me down to Indiana and to fight this. It was in Gary, Indiana, where the tournament was. And the kid hit me so hard, he took me right off the canvas, literally. And my mom says when I landed, I threw a left hook right hand. She goes, it was right on him. And took me apart the first round. Second round was more competitive. I started breaking him down. Third round, the guy was so tired, he could barely move. He just shot his wad beating on me. So I come back, I start beating on him, and I get him hurt, and he's going down, so he starts holding. In the amateurs, you can't do anything, you know. You can't hold, slap. They're very strict on the rules. And so he got 2 points taken off right away for holding, trying to survive the fight. And then so at the end of the fight, if you get 3 points off, you're DQ'd. So he got 2 off. He barely finished the fight. So they go to the decision. I went on a split decision. He got 5 judges, and 2 of the judges still thought he won. He even had him 2 points taken off. That's how bad the guy beat on me. And so now I'm U.S. regional champ. That's a big deal. State champ, U.S. regional champ. I got 3 fights under my belt. I go to the Junior Olympic National Finals. And that was down in North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina at the university. And so I go down there once again. I got in the ring and fought, man. That's all I did. So the first fight, I fight this kid out of St. Louis, toughest kid in the Nationals. And I draw him right off the bat. I have to fight him. And we go at it. And I'm starting to beat him down. We go toe-to-toe. I break his nose. We go into the second round. I broke his nose. The doctor had to come up in the ring and look at his nose. They were thinking about stopping it. He couldn't breathe. And he was very quickly going in the sack, man. I was pounding on him. And I had him pretty much knocked out, and I get DQ'd for slapping. Like I said, in the amateur boxing, you can't, you know, if you like we're throwing, you know, going boom, boom, right up on each other. And if you don't turn it over with the white part of the glove, they'll take a point off for slapping. I got disqualified for that, and I had the guy knocked out. So the guy goes on and kicks everybody's ass, and I'm out. And so I go home, and the very next tournament I go to is the Pal Nationals, and I win that. It was kind of a joke. Really nobody showed up. I still won it. I had a tough fight in the finals. And so now I'm Pal National Champ, and I had maybe not even 10 fights under my belt. And my career progressed from there pretty good.